Hello, my loves. It's Britt here, and in this video, I want to talk about using astrology to understand your crazy life and your crazy self, okay? And I've been feeling really called lately to get back into my roots, and my roots are astrology, and it's almost like it's something that I've been doing for so long that it's so natural to me that it was like I didn't even need to talk about it anymore. Hi, Matt. Say hi when you pop on, loves. So yeah, it's almost like astrology has just become such a natural part of me that for a while I wasn't even talking about it at all, like as if everybody just knew it already. Like, because to me it's just such a basic, obvious life thing. It's like, obviously do astrology, obviously look up the chart for every day, obviously look up the chart for everybody you've ever known and their ex and their mom and their dad and everybody in the whole freaking world until you have like 1,000 charts on your time passages app on your phone and on all your astrology programs. Like, I mean, obviously, like who doesn't do that, right? Like, who? Hi, Jay. Hi, Dragon Dawn. What's up, my people? So, like, for me, it's just become such a natural thing. Like, obviously, I do astrology, and I do it every day. But I realized that, like, oh my God, I could be teaching this, and I should be teaching this because this is something that helps me every single day of my life to make sense of the craziness and to make sense of my own crazy self, right? So it's just like, well, duh, of course I'm going to start teaching astrology. So I'm going to be talking about astrology a little bit more. I'll still be talking about all the other shit I talk about as well. Hello, love. Say hi when you pop on. Jay says, love the red dress. Okay, but it's not a dress. I must show you. It's not a dress. Do you see what it is? It's like a romper, or it's a suit. It's fabulous. It's not a dress. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment. So I am going to talk about how you can use astrology to understand your crazy life. Okay, and life doesn't have to be crazy, but sometimes it can feel like it is, or especially in the realms of our relationships. It can seem like why are people acting a certain way? Or like why am I so into this type of thing and not this? And why am I like this? And, why can't I just be more like this? And you turn it into this like mental dilemma, like with everything. And when you have astrology, when you have your natal birth chart and you have everybody else's natal birth chart that you have to interact with on a regular basis, you can just let go of the wondering, because it does show you your soul's path, and it shows you other people's soul's path as well, and how other people express themselves, and how, yes, everyone is different than you, and nobody is going to actually get you in the same way that you know that you are, because everybody is operating from their own unique individualness. Okay, so nobody can ever really understand you, but you can understand them if you learn how to read their charts, okay? So, and I mean, more importantly than even understanding other people is understanding yourself and why you do the things you do and what you need to make yourself come alive. And you already know this within, and I'm not at all saying that astrology is something that's actually needed. It's not needed at all, actually. It's definitely not something that anybody needs to do, okay? Nobody has to do astrology. Nobody needs to do it. You can be successful. You can live a happy life. You can have everything you want without astrology. You don't need it. But if you have stumbled upon it or stumbled upon me, it's because you have been given this opportunity to understand things in this way, and it's probably going to help you. So if you've stumbled upon me or you've stumbled upon astrology, it's because it's meant to help your life. It's meant to help you understand who you are on a soul level and probably love yourself more, because if you know that you're a certain placement, like you know you're an Aries, so you know that you're kind of impatient and you like to do things quickly and move on with things fast. Like if you know that, when other people try to tell you who you are, like, hey, maybe you should slow down a bit, you'll be like, well, this is just who I am. And, you know, you can actually develop this kind of self-acceptance and love. Or like if you're a Taurus like me and you like to do things more slowly and you're very stubborn and stuck on this is the way it is, this is the way it always has been and always will be. And you know that you can kind of be like this and get into like a rut. You know that, so you can accept and love yourself for that, right? So Jay says, I'm a North Node in Leo Capricorn Sun. Tell me about me. Well, Jay, that looks like you have quite the destiny to fulfill. So with the North Node in Leo, and actually I did a video on the North Node yesterday. Oh yeah, but I did it in the Spiritual Boss Babes Facebook group. So if you're not in the Facebook group, Spiritual Boss Babes, you wouldn't have seen my amazing video that I did yesterday in the Spiritual Boss Babes Facebook group. It was awesome. But I did a video on what the North Node is, okay? And the North Node, I would say, is probably one of the most important points in astrology because it shows the soul's path along with the sun. And for you, Jay, you have something important going on because your North Node is in Leo. And the sun rules Leo. So that emphasizes your Capricorn sun that much more. It's showing that that Capricorn sun is really like the focal point of what you came here to do. So it's about somehow being that Capricorn sun type that you are, which is you're very steady, reliable. You want to be at the top and you won't stop until you are at the top. And even if it takes years and years and years and your whole entire life dedicated to a cause, you will do that. But with the North Node in Leo, it's showing like probably even more, you're going to be a big deal to like mass amounts of people. Like it's not just going to be like over your town or whatever. Like it's a big purpose that you have there with the North Node in Leo and the sun in Capricorn. So it's like really about putting your boss pants on, putting your leader pants on, kind of like what I'm doing here right now actually as well. I've just decided I have to put my boss pants on, I have to put my leader pants on, and it's just something I have to do right now. I can't be any other way. But for you in your life, Jay, I don't know if you can relate to that. Like that's a theme. It's like really about stepping into that leader role because you know things that other people don't know and you know how to do things in a better way than other people. So you're meant to teach that. And it could be on a bigger scale than maybe you even realize. Hello, loves. Hi, Rocco. Hi, Shaz. Say hi when you pop on, loves. So, yeah, the North Node in astrology shows the soul's path for this lifetime. And also the sun. And a common misconception about the sun sign in astrology, okay? And this is why, and this pisses me right off, you guys. This makes me so angry, is that, okay, a lot of times people, they only know their sun sign in astrology, right? You only know like your birthday or whatever. I'm an Aries, I'm a Capricorn, whatever. You only know your sun sign. And then you read like 2 sentences about it and you think, well, that's not me, so therefore astrology must be bullshit. Okay, here's the deal. 2 sentences could never cut it. You need a more in-depth description for sure. But also, more importantly than even that, is that the sun is who you're growing into. It's what you came to develop in this lifetime along with the North Node. You're going to actually feel the qualities of the moon way more strongly than the qualities of your sun sign. So, and the moon sign, most people don't even know about if they don't know a little bit about astrology. They don't know they have a moon sign. So, like, when these like astrology dumbasses, read these like little like descriptions of their sign and they're like, that's not me, astrology is bullshit. It's very sad because the sun sign is something that you are growing into. And like, I remember when I first started studying astrology and I had no idea about charts or anything. And I only knew that I was a Taurus, okay? May 8th Taurus. So I literally read in my first astrology book, I read every planet in Taurus, like sun in Taurus, moon in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, Venus in Taurus. And I was like, this is just not right. This does not sound like me. And I was like, you know, I don't really like relate that much to Taurus qualities of being calm and stable and practical. And I'm like, well, why am I so crazy that I'm like, this doesn't really make sense? And but then when I actually figured out how to do my birth chart, and I had this amazing book, and if you're just starting out with astrology, you should totally get this book. It's called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need by Joanne Wolford. And when I bought it, this is back when I was 15 years old, it came with a CD. Remember CDs? And I actually like put it into my computer, and I had this program where I could do everybody's birth charts. So I put mine in, and I found out all my other planets, and I found out my moon was in Leo. And then it showed you like what page to go in the book to read about the moon in Leo. And oh my God, when I read about the moon in Leo, it was so accurate that I like cried. I was like, this is me. This is who I've been since I was a child. This is the real me. This is like how I feel on the inside. And that was my moon sign, my moon in Leo. And I also saw that my favorite person ever, who was going to be my husband up until the time I was like 12, I knew that he was going to be my husband. Paul McCartney from the Beatles obviously was going to marry me. It was just the absolute truth of the matter. It didn't matter what anybody else said. Paul McCartney was going to be my husband. It was like absolute reality back then in my childhood, for my entire childhood, for like 10 years of my life. He had moon in Leo as well. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I share the same moon sign as this person that I absolutely love and adore so much. And I could kind of see it because he sort of had that show person personality as well. Like I always felt like I had as well. So anyways, that was like when my mind was blown on astrology. I was like, holy shit. So I'm trying to become more like Taurus, which is stable, you know, got the monies in the bank, and, you know, like reliable, practical, beauty, you know, got the white picket fence house with the garden. That's Taurus. And that's where I'm going, definitely, in one sense. And then, but my moon in Leo is that big-hearted, generous, expansive, everything that happens to me is a huge deal, and everybody better know about it. Hi, Sarah. So anyways, that was when my mind was blown on astrology. So does everybody on here know about their moon sign and know that they have a birth chart and all of this? Like, does anybody know anything about astrology? I know Jay does, but do any of the rest of you people on here know anything more? Yeah, so when you start knowing yourself, you can start loving yourself, and you can stop hating yourself for your natural responses. Like for me, yeah, my natural response is to make a big deal of things and, you know, be like, in a sense, dramatic, or like I have this like queen complex. I do, and I've always had that. And when I read about the moon in Leo, I was like, that is me. That is me. Sarah says, no, I need my chart done. Yes, you do, girlfriend. Shaz says, yep, I went on astro.com and looked up my chart today. Yes, girl, that's what you got to do. Astro.com is a great website. So you know you're a Scorpio. That's good. So, Sarah, that means your sun sign is Scorpio. But you actually have a sign for every planet, and this is when shit starts to get real and your whole life starts to make sense. And there's so much more. There's signs, there's planets, there's houses, there's aspects, there's transits, and then we get into relationship astrology, there's synastry, and then there's composite charts, which is the actual chart of the relationship itself. I should just show you guys all my astrology books, just so you know how in-depth this shit is. And because I'm really proud of my books, obviously. I like to just, whenever I can, I like to show off my books, right? Because, like, they're there, and, like, I've spent years collecting them, you guys. So, okay, I'm going to show you my books. Okay. This is the astrology library. Obviously, it's not finished. It will never be finished. Ever. Okay. So, this whole shelf right here is astrology books. And there's some down here. as well. And then the rest are like healing and self-help books, pretty much. There's a couple books like about the Beatles and stuff, but mostly healing and self-help over on that side. But this whole side is all astrology. Some of these books are very good. Some of them are just okay. Some of them are like amazing. So anyways, yeah, fabulous, right? Isn't that fabulous? If you ever need a book recommendation, I'm your girl. But also I am the book, because like sometimes I know people, you don't like to read the books. You want me to teach you. And actually it's a good time that I mentioned that I am offering a one-on-one astrology mentorship program, or mentoring. Jay, are you still on here? What's the correct way to say what I'm trying to say? Do I say that it's a one-on-one astrology mentorship group, or like mentoring? Like, because I've been saying both, and I know you know the actual meanings of words. Jay's one of my private clients, and he's going to help me with the word here. But okay, so I'm offering a one-on-one astrology mentoring program where I'm going to teach you astrology. I'm going to teach you the basics of astrology, or if you already know the basics of astrology, I'm going to teach you the intermediate or the soul aspects behind it, okay? So message me if you're interested in that. Sarah says, I like your bookcase. Love. Thank you, Sarah. Matt says, the aspects part really hurts my head. Okay, so aspects. And aspects in astrology, Matt, are actually the best part. Once you start learning the aspects in astrology, your mind will be blown and you'll never go back to not doing the aspects part of astrology, okay? So what the aspects mean in astrology is the aspects that the planets are making to each other. And these are the major aspects. There's the conjunction, square, sextile, trine, opposition. And also I would consider the inconjunct a major aspect, although some astrologers do not. But I've done a whole video on the inconjunct, and I'm like obsessed with the inconjunct aspect because it's very awkward. Hi, Sandra. Sarah says mentorship. It's a mentorship program with me. So once you get your head wrapped around the aspects, you cannot go back. And actually, it's great too because you can look up the aspects even if you don't have someone's exact time of birth. You can sort of see, well, not the aspects of the moon or the rising, that would change, but it's a really good way to just tell how people are. Like one of my closest aspects is my moon is conjunct my Mars in Leo. And I do not know a lot of people who have this aspect of the moon conjunct Mars. It's a very fiery aspect. It's a very passionate aspect. And it's a very unthinking, like quick-minded, like quick reflex, like, you know, it's kind of like a military, like in a sense, I was probably like some type of soldier in another life or something. But, and I've related to it so much. And I used to also have like anger. Not that I have anger now. I don't really, I mean, I get fired up. I'm always fired up. Like I'm always fired up about something, but it's mostly just passion. It's not anger. But in the descriptions of people that have this aspect, it's like, watch out, anger, fireballs, fighters, whatever. But I also have that making a nice aspect to Venus, which I think sort of tones it down. I've got Moon and Mars are trine Venus. So like, even though I'm this fiery person, I could still make my fire somehow seem beautiful and pleasing and not so scary. But yeah, so if you really want to know about people, check their aspects for sure. But that's like that's more intermediate. Although I did learn that fairly quickly, and it's really something you gotta know. Like I've known some astrologers who are just getting into it, but they don't do aspects. And I'm just like, dude, like you have to do aspects. Like if you're gonna be an astrologer and you're gonna do people's charts and you don't do aspects, I mean, like you can do that, but you're missing like half the picture, buddy. That's what I believe. So anyways, you guys, yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say. Knowing astrology has helped my life immensely, helped me understand who I am, like with all the fire. I never actually knew that I was a fiery person. When I had my first astrology reading from someone when I was like 15, she told me, she's like, oh my God, like you have to like do some type of aggressive sport, like play rugby or like do boxing or something. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because at that point I wasn't even really working out or anything. I was just like being a lazy teenager partying and stuff. And this chick was like, when she saw my chart, she's like, you have so much fire. Like, you have to work out. You have to go for runs. Like, I see you, this active person. And even now, sometimes I don't work out as much as I need to. I've been working out a lot lately, though, and I feel a lot more like normal. But yeah, so that was really cool to find that out about myself. So what if your birth location is a block away from another city? Which one do you use? Well, use the city that you're actually born in. But like if you're saying that certain programs don't have your city, just use the one closest to it, because it just goes by the time zone anyways. Like, it's not going to change too much if you use a city that's like right nearby. It's not actually going to change anything if you use a city that's like right nearby. The only thing that it would change is maybe a few minutes off the chart. Yeah, Sarah says I'm full of fire as well. I can feel that in you as well. I think most of the people that I work with actually are very fiery women. That's why I did that video a while back. I was like, for the fiery women, because honestly, like, a lot of us women have been taught to tame the fire, you know, like shut up, or like you're too much, or, you know, like just whatever people say to women, you know, to tone it down or whatever. And if you do that for too long, it'll just turn inward. Like, you'll turn the fire inward on yourself, and you'll either get depressed or you'll just like resent everybody and your whole life. But if you can let the fire out, and fire needs to be let out, it's actually like pure creative energy as well. So like through a creative pursuit, like I play the guitar, I haven't been playing them because I've been getting fake nails all the time because they're fun. But like, you gotta let the fire out, girls. If you have a lot of fire in your chart as well, it's like, it can't just sit. You can't just sit and read a book all day. Although I would love to. I have so many wonderful books. I have to get out and get active. And I have to do creative activities, like do a live video, or, you know, like create content or whatever, right? So it's a really good idea if you know you're a fiery woman, and you know if you are. I mean, Sarah knows. She doesn't know her chart, but she just knows. It's a really good idea to find a way to express that fire. And fire doesn't care how it's received, okay? And when you really let that fire out, it's like you don't even care how people see it. You're just like excited to let it out. And then what's really funny is then people are magnetized to you, because then you're this like really bright, shiny person, and they're like, whoa, this is different than anything I've ever done. Oh, Jason, I had to take a business call. What did I miss? I asked you a question. You can go back and watch it later, Jay. No, I asked you, what is the correct word? Is it, like, for my program, is it mentorship or mentoring? Sarah said mentorship, like that I'm offering an astrology one-on-one mentorship. But I knew you would know the correct word, because I've been saying both. I've been saying, like, I'm offering astrology one-on-one mentoring or astrology one-on-one mentorship. Anyways, that's what I wanted to know from you. But yeah, any other questions you guys have about astrology? I really am obsessed with the relationship side of astrology, because ever since I was a child, I saw people in relationships acting just so weird. And I'm like, why are you being so mean to each other? Why do your actions make no sense towards each other? And if you look at the astrology behind relationships, you can understand why relationships are a certain way. If there's a lot of Uranus in the relationship synastry, it's sort of an on-off relationship. If there's a lot of Pluto in the relationship synastry, it's a very obsessive bond, either on the part of one person or both persons, or actually it switches. If there's a lot of Saturn in a relationship synastry, which is the relationship chart, it's like a very karmic, fated, like, we're learning something here, but it's kind of difficult and like a little bit scary. And if there's a lot of Jupiter, there is so much joy between the people, and they just like each other, and they could have a fuckload of shitty aspects like Mars, Saturn, and all this other stuff, but if there's good Jupiter stuff, the people just like each other. So that's a whole other thing that we can go into, is relationship astrology, comparing your chart with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or that guy that you were in love with for like 10 years and like he didn't like you back or whatever. We can look at all of that with the astrology, but you need their birth date and preferably their time of birth as well. Chaz says, yeah, I was going to ask you if you have time to do a comparison chart after this live if you are free. Well, that would take a whole session or possibly even two. It's not something that can just be done in a couple sentences at all. Like literally 1 hour call about someone's relationship is really short. But we can use one of our sessions for it if you are interested, Chaz. Chaz is working with me one-on-one right now. I love her. She is wonderful. She's also a coach on here as well. She's a health coach. So check her out. Jay says either works. You're a mentor offering a mentorship. Okay. You guys are awesome. All my people are on here today, like my soulmate people. Jay says, oh, Jupiter. Jupiter is just lovely. When there's strong Jupiter conjunctions, this is what Stephen Arios said actually in his book. I just took this from him because he's one of my favorite authors. He said when there's a lot of Jupiter conjunctions, like Jupiter ascendant or Jupiter moon, Jupiter Mercury, Venus, Mars, like the people just like each other because Jupiter is that big buoyant energy. And I actually just did a video training on Jupiter. You can message me if you want the link to that. Jupiter is that joyful expansion. It's sort of like the people get together and they're just like these, you're just lovely. They just love each other. So it's really great to have a lot of Jupiter, and that's how like you can keep things lighthearted even amongst, you know, all the relationship difficulties that, you know, inevitably come up. And yeah, so I love Jupiter in relationships. I love to see some good Jupiter aspects. And there's also a composite chart, which is the chart of the relationship itself. And that shows a lot, and it shows more like the long-term effects of the relationship, how the people will actually get on together. And quite often, like, you could have a really good chart comparison, but then if you go to the composite chart and like there's not a whole lot going on, the people won't ever form an actual relationship. It's really interesting. And here's the other thing too. Most people like difficulties in their relationships. You don't see a lot of relationships form, or I haven't seen a lot of relationships form without an abundance of difficult aspects. Because here's the thing, we like that. Like, humans actually like things to be a little bit more difficult, especially in the realms of their relationships. Jupiter Ascending is a movie that they hide some serious esoteric secrets in. Wow, that's really funny because someone with Jupiter Ascending would actually be like not the secretive type at all. It would be like the opposite of a Scorpio rising. It would be like the Sag rising who just lets all of it out. Oh, maybe that does make sense then because they're letting out the secrets like a Jupiter rising person. So anyways, this is probably all I wanted to say, guys, about astrology. But like, I could talk for hours on astrology, and I'm really looking forward to work with you one-on-one and teach you the ways of the stars. So if you're interested in that, message me. I have a few spots available for that, and I still have spots available to work with me one-on-one as well. Whether you want to do astrology or not, or if you just want some healing or some joy coaching, which is what I do, people. So yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, love.